Welcome back. Now, the ANC's elective conferences have lately been dominated by confusion and contestation over credentials, coupled with process issues. There's even been violence at some of the gatherings. The latest one held is the one in East London, which concluded a day later than expected due to the disagreement over proceedings for the Eastern Cape province. The governing ANC party will be hosting more regional elective conferences this year in the build-up to the December national one. Many are wondering if the party can get its house in order for the next conference. To unpack this further with me, I'm joined by Dr Ntsikelelo Breakfast. He's a political analyst at the Nelson Mandela University. Ntsikelelo, thank you very much and welcome once again to All Angles. Now, first of all, of course, let's talk about the Eastern Cape conference, which just concluded. It's a landslide, it seems, in terms of the voting in of Mabuyane's slate. So is it obvious? It looks obvious for Ramaphosa in the Eastern Cape, right? But we still have KZN. Can he even rely at all on KZN?
Not at all. I think the forces of footprint, or rather the forces of RET, have a strong footprint in KZN. I think that one is in the bag for the forces of RET. But the Eastern Cape, was a geopolitical battleground because it is the third largest province of the ANC. We saw the president coming down here in the build-up to the conference because he had an interest with regard to the outcome, and he is the one actually who facilitated the smoothness of the ascendancy of Oscar Mabuyane to the helm of power. Oscar Mabuyane, you must have heard him in his speech making a commitment that the Eastern Cape does support the president if he wants to stand for a second term. So that was a payback, because he was helped. If you look at, for instance, the lineup of the delegates from HQ, it had a posture, it was suggesting that the Ramaphosa faction wanted to win the conference at all costs.
Talking about Andile Lungisa, who obviously lost the position of treasurer yesterday, he has now officially made it into the provincial executive committee. Is it fair for people to make the notion that this is proof that the ANC harbors criminality?
I don't know what is the issue with Andile Lungisa, because there are two main line of arguments. There is his own argument, and his political opponents are arguing the exact opposite, because he says that he completed his sentence. I'm not sure about that. On the other hand, some people are saying that he should never have been on the list of contenders who stood for those positions. But I'm not sure which is which.
But what is your political analysis when it comes to Lungisa? Of course, he did serve his sentence and then he came out. What is your political analysis when it comes to him coming back like this?
My view is that if you look at Matikizela, he doesn't strike me as a person who supports the president, though in theory, he was propagating that he supports the return of the president for a second term. But if you examine closely his political lexicon, you will realize that he comes across as a proponent of radical economic transformation. So my view is that the brains behind his camp were basically Lungisa and Mlibo Khoboshane, and that they are the ones, I think they were using him, in my view, as a Trojan horse in pursuit of their political objective realization. However, that was a project gone wrong because they did not achieve their intended objective.
Earlier this year, the ANC in Gauteng, which is preparing to go into its elective conference in June, they disbanded their regional executive committees and just turned them into regional task teams. How does this affect what's going to happen this weekend in the Johannesburg elective conference?
Yeah, I think, You know what, the challenge is that, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, you can't be a judge in your own case. You cannot write a test and mark it yourself. You can't disband the PEC, then institute a PTT with people who are also going to stand. Because the question is, how are those people going to be objective in terms of the facilitation of the preparations for the conference? That denotes that even the people at H2, because they are the ones who normally take these initiatives, even themselves, they have an interest in terms of the outcomes of these conferences. No wonder some people, when they are discontent about the way things are, they break away and basically institute legal actions against the ANC, because the internal party control measures are not up to a stretch.
And of course, in June, although Gauteng is very small, it's relatively small compared to other provinces when you look at what's going to take place in December. But who should we be looking out for in Gauteng in terms of the leadership that might make it to the top this time here?
Yeah, I think there are two contenders or two factions. I think it's the one of Panyaza and then Maile. As far as I'm concerned, I think Maile gravitates towards the forces of RET, and then the former gravitates to the brigade of Ramaphosa faction. It's not easy to see which way the wind is blowing at the moment, but maybe later on we'll see who stands a better chance of emerging as a victor.
I think maybe this weekend might be able to tell us in terms of the Johannesburg Regional Elective Conference. If a Mpomoirane comes up top again in this region, that would be a positive for Maile.
Yes, but in the bigger scheme of things, my analysis is that I think the Ramaphosa faction, they have done very well so far, in particular in terms of securing a win in the Eastern Cape, because that has a serious political meaning. So when I look at the forces of RET, they do have strong points, but also they have weaknesses. But if you look at the faction of Ramaphosa, I think they stand a better chance of winning the elective conference of the ANC in December, because of two things: because of the state machinery at their disposal, and also because of the relationship that the president has with capital. And I think capital is the one that is going to finance the campaign of the president to come back. So my prediction is that the Ramaphosa faction, I think they're going to win the upcoming conference of the ANC, so long as they keep in touch with their opponents. Because if you look at the margin that Oscar Mabuyane won by, it was very narrow. It was not wide. So the tables can turn. So they need to be disciplined and make sure that they do the groundwork in pursuit of their political objective realization.
So in your analysis, I think you would say that he's done well in Mpumalanga, definitely in the Eastern Cape. Of course, with the regional conference of eThekwini, he didn't do so well, and I'm talking about Ramaphosa, but we expected that. And now it will also now, what will be interesting is, of course, for instance, the Free State.
Look, my view is that Limpopo, they made a commitment, the chairperson, that they support him. I don't think that he's going to get hostility in the Northern Cape. In the Northwest, I don't think that there is a threat to him, despite the fact that he was wished away at that rally of Kosato. But Kosato is not the ANC. Kosato is outside the ANC. So we can't gauge him based on that. So I think he has accomplished his political mission, but he must just make sure that he becomes focused and disciplined.
Ntsikelelo, thank you very much for your time here on All Angles. That is political analyst Ntsikelelo Breakfast.